Hello, everyone. Uh, I know this is a little different. Um, you see, I have two cards here. I have the desert and the mountain. Uh, so what I've been trying to do lately is try to incorporate some of my shamanic practice um, with my tarot readings on this channel. Um, while my practices are very personal, I thought it would be very helpful and insightful here to really try to help people process their own journeys, messages that they might be getting, etc. So, um, before we start, I just want to say thank you to all my guides uh, from the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. Especially all my guides that assist me on all of my shamanic journeys. And I just want to thank them for allowing and showing me the way and the messages that I need to see and hear and know. So, with that, let me tell you about my journey. So, Monday morning, I did a shamanic journey. I try to use my mornings for spirit as much as possible, spirit and exercise. Um, so the in the journey, with shamanic journey, you can go from the lower world, you can go to the middle world, you can go to the upper world. Just depends on, you know, which one you want to go to, really. Um, so what I did was I went to the lower world because I had a question and I was hoping for some guidance. What I wasn't expecting was um, where I ended up in the lower world because normally all my travels have been um, I've ended up in a jungle. So, and it's always been like kind of an Amazon kind of a jungle, very tropical, very lots of vines, lots of like different looking animals, lots of animals of like all shapes and sizes, but also humans, which was interesting. Um, so on this particular journey, I actually ended up uh, in a desert, and I'll read the meanings of both the desert and the mountain. But while I was in the desert, I basically scanned my surroundings. And when I say journeying, essentially what I'm doing is going into a meditative state where I connect with the spirit of nature on these different levels. And yeah, that's what journeying means. It's essentially a state of meditation in order to retrieve messages from nature. So essentially, I ended up in the desert. And it was interesting to be in the middle of a desert and looking around to see, who's going to show me around this world because, and, I journeyed in and got there. And when I turned around, this big cactus was basically like right behind me. And I was like, wow, shocking. But then once I realized this must be a spirit that's here to help me, I asked, the cactus, what, where do I go from here? What am I supposed to do? Because it wasn't my spirit guide, but it was a guide in that world to kind of show me around. And so it pointed me in the far off direction, there was a mountain. So I started journeying, but as things went on, it just kind of kept going and going, and I came out of my journey and I journaled about this, of course. Um, but I wanted to read the meaning of the desert, because I actually found corresponding cards in the archetype cards, and I wanted to understand a little bit more how with tarot and the archetype cards, how I could make my way from the desert to the mountain, and what this journey might be telling me, or at least consider it another perspective of what the journey might be telling me. So with that, I'll go ahead and read the desert and the mountain. Okay, so I hope you can see this. I'm going to pull it a little bit out, actually. So this is the desert. You can see a hand coming up out of the ground, and there's a moon in the distance. And I'll set that there. The desert, the drought, the wasteland, the badlands. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day to day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will, someday, reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright, and its darks are terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes call, surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. So, when the desert energy is in light, it's surreal. Excuse me, gosh, my throat is dry. It's surreal, it's strange. There are unexpected visions and silence, which indeed I did have on this journey. There was a part between here that I am purposely leaving out of this recording, mostly because it's personal, but I will agree to there were very much creative and clairvoyant visions. And it was very surreal, it was very strange to me, and it was very unexpected. But it happened. So when the desert energy is in dark, it's drying, it's deadening, it's disorienting and isolating. To go deeper, I believe that's the movie. Read or watch Frank Herbert's Dune, Barry Lopez's Desert Notes, and Edward Abbey's Desert Solitaire. The desert is alive and pulsing with energy despite its desolate appearance. Turn toward it rather than away from it. When in the throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. And it's funny, when I was in the desert, I really wasn't looking for water. I was more looking for, I was looking for a direction. Like, because, when anybody is ever in the desert, that's the first thing that we're taught to do, right? Not look for water, but look for a direction to go in. Because no one really wants, well, for me, I really never wanted to be in the desert. It's while I understand its significance in the spiritual realm and to my life, I never really nobody ever really wants to be in the desert. And yeah, so we'll keep going, and I'll keep using that as we go. So now the mountain. Where is the mountain? Here we go. Okay, the mountain. Let me take a look a little bit closer. You can see there's someone inside the mountain. Okay, the mountain, the ascent, the peak, the insurmountable. The mountain stands eternally in our awareness, calling us toward its peak. It stirs up stoic and regal feelings, reminding us of the long line of spirits, sages, sadhus, and gods that made their humble thrones within its snowy peaks. Beware, though, as the mountain can affect us in two ways. It can inspire and enliven us to rise to new heights in peak experience. Yet it can also create isolation, competitiveness, and an inflated sense of self. Standing upon its heights can activate the purist and the perfectionist in us, creating separation from those we deemed to be below. No matter how high you ascend, remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, the minerals, and jewels reside. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. When light, you are grounded in the eternal and steadfast, uplifting. When dark, you are ominous, daunting, isolating, and frigid. To go deeper, read Mary Oliver's The Poet Dreams of the Mountain. Research mountains. Find one that strikes you and stare at it for a while. Where is it? The pilgrim may be awakening in you. The summit calls. Contemplate Joseph Campbell's suggestion, you are the central mountain, and the central mountain is everywhere. All right, wow. So, I really didn't get a sense of what the mountain was in the journey, but in other parts of my spiritual life for excuse me, the past year has been all about climbing an internal mountain. And then before that, as a someone who's a climber, uh, essentially a rock climber, you know, the mountain physically for me is what I was training myself to be able to do physically, um, up until a few years back. And then I had to have surgery. And yeah, that's what happened. So to me, I'm always trying to, physically, I've been trying to get back into shape to be able to conquer this mountain. But I've been in the last, there have been what's the word? Um, internal mountains, or the mountains that are inside of me, or climbing the mountain of recovery. So I've never been able to actually climb a, a real physical mountain. I've all of it has been the mountains that I've climbed from the inside, and that to me is just always been my goal of being able to do this. So yeah. I mean, I know the cactus pointed me toward the mountain, and before, yeah, I mean, it's daunting to make the journey, and not only make the journey, but starting off in the desert, because to me, you know, it's going from one extreme to another. And it's daunting to think, when I get to the mountain, will I actually be able to climb a mountain? And I have identified one, that I resonate with as far as spiritually. And I won't say which one because I want to keep it to myself. But it's daunting to be back here, heading toward the mountain and wondering, when I get to the mountain, is it going to be an internal mountain again? Is it going to be a spiritual mountain again? Is it going to be, am I actually ever going to be able to get to the top of a physical mountain on this earth? Yeah. So let me go ahead and do some tarot and see where that takes me. Okay, let's see, about 15 minutes. Um, Spirit, I'm going to do a spread from left to right, from the desert to the mountain, and just asking for your guidance on how to best make this journey, not only while I'm in the desert, um, to make my best use of my time there, but how do I go from the desert to the mountain? Spirit, please, please come in and help me understand how it is that I move from the desert to the mountain. I'm going to cut the cards. All right. Okay. Interesting. Ha! Of course. Okay. Let me go ahead and put this aside. So I drew 4 cards to denote the path um, to the mountains. So the first card up is the Two of Pentacles. Next, we have the Daughter of Pentacles, which is it's basically the Page of Pentacles. If if we're looking at classic tarot, Daughter is also synonymous with Page. Then we have the Father of Pentacles, which is the King of Pentacles. And then we have the Tower, which is a Major Arcana card. Interesting. Okay, so corresponding with essentially where I am in the desert now, and I'm looking at the Two of Pentacles. In it, we see a butterfly. We see these 2 pentacles here. And a lot of times it can be about juggling, but what this card is really hitting home here about is balance, finding balance, so that you're not doing too much and spreading your wings too wide. You're actually finding balance. So for me, I take this as the desert being the place where I balance out my energies. Um, and really, and of course, pentacles are about earth and material items. So there is a balance coming in that area where I'm finding balance in work, and I'm in my waking life, I'm finding balance. Um, things are working themselves out. Um, but in the desert, it's unknown. So I almost have to be really creative. And I feel as if the desert is asking, to co-create with me. And not only co-create, but it's a little more powerful in that the visions that I'm getting, the vision that I mentioned that was kind of in this in-between space between the desert and the mountain, it was very surreal, and it was very eye-opening because it was almost essentially a rebirth. Um, so, okay, Daughter of Pentacles. This is Page of Pentacles. Pages bring us messages, and it's interesting that I've moved from a Two of Pentacles all the way up into the Court cards, the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles, essentially, Daughter of Pentacles, is bringing us an offer. And I'm wondering if while I'm in the desert, am I getting an offer of messages of an offer um, that are earth based, or something material? you know, um, or maybe I have to make an offer to the earth. And in some ways, physically, I feel like I've already made an offer to the earth. Um, but either way, here, because it's just a page, it is just a message or a young student. So, in balancing things out, I may also either I may be getting a message about an offer, or I may start the journey of being a student of my own, whatever it is that I find in the desert, um, whatever thought or clairvoyant, or creative, like big thing that comes out when when I'm in the desert energy. Because then what ends up happening is it looks as if I'm becoming the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles is a business person. Um, in the 3D world, in this world, the King of Pentacles is a business owner, very entrepreneurial, very much, at the top of his game, the top of his earth energy. And that's all about material gain, material success, and also someone that's very nurturing, very family oriented, but definitely has, who wears the crown. But when we get to the mountain, when we get to the mountain, there is the Tower card. And because the rest of these cards are really, really good, um, and they're all pentacles, which is also interesting. That's the entire pentacles. It's all pentacles until we get to the Tower. So I'll show you the Tower. The Tower card. Uh, so have you ever had something? Have you ever had something happen to you that was completely devastating at the time that it happened, but like maybe a year or two down the road, you realize, oh wow, I dodged a big one. Or, wow, this is, that it's so good that I didn't get caught up in that, or that thing ended before, you know what I mean? So this is what the Tower card represents. There's a tree here, but it's been hit from the sides, and it's falling down and it's burning. And the Tower card is essentially what we have built and um, what we have maintained as a goal, or what we have built something on a foundation that is made of sand, essentially. For those of you who are know a little bit about Christianity, church, things like that. But a foundation built on sand is not going to a foundation built on sand is not going to last. No, a structure built on sand is not going to last. Which is, I can't believe I just said that. Because if the mountain is built on sand, it's not going to last. What a message, you guys. I just gave myself my own message. Okay. Um, yeah, so, and that corresponds with the mountain card. I'm heading toward a place that I really have always wanted to go, but is that really on solid ground? And I think essentially what I'm being told is that the mountain is far off in the distance, and I need to concentrate on where I am now and this middle area that occurred. But I don't think I'm going to end up going to the mountain. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to end up getting there, or at least if I don't, I think if I don't take advantage of the messages here while I'm in the desert, I'm, you know, it's all gonna fall apart by the time I get to the mountain. And the thing is that it's one of those things that, hey, when I get to the mountain, it's gonna be a tower. A lot of tarot readers call it a tower moment, where something happens that knocks something down, but it was for our own good. And what also might be for you all, so you don't think I'm like being really down, depressive, that kind of thing, but the Tower card is telling me that maybe if I were to get to like a physical mountain and the whole thing fell apart before I got there, it was better for me that I wasn't actually on the mountain, right? When it all fell apart or when it all fell down. Because what are the dangers of mountain climbing? Avalanches, falling into a crevasse, not having enough oxygen, not having trained enough, or maybe, something else is going to come up. And because all these cards are pentacles, there's something to do. This is very earth energy, very earth based here, because all these pentacles are here. So to me, it just looks like, there's something going on with the earth, and I should probably pay attention to some of my physical and material things here. And not only that, I need to be a student of the earth. I have more work to do. And I guess it's okay that this tower moment happens if I head toward this tower moment, because, yeah, I feel like I'll have my pentacles ready, right? But when it all falls apart, what mountain have I conquered? Hmm. All right, I'm going to look at the bottom of the deck, and let's see. Seven of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. The Seven of Swords is about being left. No, let's see. So, Seven of Swords is about thoughts and ideas. Well, swords are about thoughts and ideas, but Seven of Swords is about this is uh, someone's hiding something from you, someone's keeping something to themselves. Um, you could be with, yeah, someone's keeping something a secret to themselves, and you don't know about it, or I don't know about it. So it could be that all along someone has been hiding something from me, and this tower fell, and you know, I avoided the deceit or the secret that this person was keeping was not followed through. And maybe that's the thing that um, saves me from the falling mountain, or getting injured on the mountain. Wow. Well, this was a really fun reading, and this is also what I really like about tarot, and what I like about doing this is that I can get a different perspective on something that happened, or something that I experienced. And maybe it can also help you too. So I would love to be able to offer more readings like these if you're interested. Um, check out my website below. Let's talk about what you're interested in finding out about, and maybe we can craft a spread for you and find out something that could help you. All right. Thanks so much. Y'all have a good one. Bye.